Welcome to the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast with your host, life coach Jeff Relaford. This podcast is designed for those who wish to change their inner self in order to maximize outward potential. So come redirect, regroup, and refocus with your number one life coach, Jeff Relaford.
Hello. Thank you all for tuning in. And we are back again here at the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. Hey, once again, I just thank you all for listening. I thank you for our valued listeners, the ones who actually keep coming back, who want more. You know, we really appreciate you. So real quick, we're just going to dive in, people. As the title reads, the word is enough. And you have to know that you are enough, that you have enough, but you still have to ask the question, am I doing enough? So once again, you have to realize that you are enough, that you have enough, but are you doing enough? So y'all know I don't like to be with y'all long, so here we go. We're going to dive right into it. So you have to know that you're enough, people. So with knowing that you are enough, you actually have to believe it, okay? Because when we start talking about mindset and what you believe, okay, affirmations are very big now. Affirmations are huge, very, very huge, and a big part of your growth and development is really based on you affirming yourself. I want you to think about that. Your growth and development is truly based on you affirming yourself. And all affirming yourself is believing in who you are. I want you to think about that. When you affirm yourself, you truly believe that's who you are. Okay? So I can always say, I'm going to do better. But I can change what I'm going to say when I say I'm going to do better and say, I am doing better. I'm striving to always make changes. I'm always striving to make changes. I'm moving. I always want to keep an open mind. I am a good person. You know what I mean? Now, when you affirm yourself, it does have to be in alignment with truly who you are. You don't want to affirm yourself. You don't want to use affirmations and convince yourself that you are a certain person. That's not how this works, people. That's not how this works at all. You do never affirm yourself to convince yourself. You affirm yourself because you know that's who you are as a person. That's that self-awareness that we talk about sometimes, people. You knowing who you are is very key and crucial. Okay? So once again, I really need y'all to think about that part right there. You are enough. Do you really believe that you're enough? Are you down in the dumps to a point to where you don't think you have nothing to offer anybody or anything? But I'm here to tell you that you actually do. The problem is that you just haven't dug deep enough. You have not dug deep enough to know your value and to know your worth. Think about that. You just have not dug deep enough to know your value and to know your worth. See, we don't like to know our value and know our worth because that means we have to do some type of work, doesn't it? That means we have to be in the trenches somehow, right? That means it takes time for us to actually know who we are as a person. That means we have to accept some things about us that we might not want to accept at the time, right? That means we have to finally take a look at self. Okay? That means we finally have to take a look at self. And when you take a look at self, that's acceptance, yo. Good or bad, okay? But in this case, we're talking about good. So you have to know that you are enough. Believe it. Affirm it within yourself. Repeat it to yourself. You know, I was at a wedding. My cousin got married this weekend. And when my cousin got married this weekend, I was talking to my Auntie Carol. Love her to death. Talking to my Auntie Carol. And she said they did a study that if you dwell on something for 5 seconds, that means you have the mental capacity to actually complete the task. Think about it. If you affirm with yourself that you have enough, you will believe that you are enough. 5 seconds. Equate that you are enough to a task that you want to do. Dwell on that for 5 seconds and see if that actually changes your life. Now, they've done studies on this, people. They have done studies on this. If you can hold the thought for at least 5 seconds, it's something that you yourself can complete. I want you to think about that. So while you're affirming yourself, while you are believing in yourself, equate your affirmation of you being enough to things that you want to complete. 5 seconds. That's all I ask people. Dwell on it for 5 seconds and then watch and see how you will be able to actually complete the task at hand. So now you know that you are enough. Now you have to realize that you have enough. Now this means that you have to change your perspective, people. This means that you have unlimited amount of resources at your disposal. See, remember, it's all about perception, right? It's all about perception. So you have to still believe that you have exhausted or unexhausted resources around you. Okay? This also has to do with self-awareness, people. You have to know who and what is around you at all times. If you do not know that, you are doing yourself a complete disservice. You're not hurting me. You are hurting yourself. Because when you know that you have enough, that means you will do whatever it takes. Hear me, people. That means you are going to do whatever it takes to complete a task. Whatever it takes to complete a task. And nothing is going to stand in your way. That doesn't mean that times aren't going to be hard, right? That doesn't mean times aren't going to be hard. But what that does mean is that you are training yourself to have the mental capacity to know that whichever way you move, there's always a way out. Think about that. Whichever way that you choose to move in this world, there's always a way out. Now, what I mean by there's always a way out is this, okay? Meaning that, you know, if you're going to go up, there's got to be a down. If you're going to go down, that means you got to be up. If you're going to go left, that means you got to go right. If you're going to go right, that means you got to go left. You don't have to go any of those ways, but you have to know that those ways are at least available to you. See, I'm breaking it down in a very simple way, very simple terms, very simple processes and ways of thinking, you know? For every action that you know that there's a reaction, right? We always say that. For every action, there's a reaction. For every positive, there's also a negative. For every negative, there's also a positive. You have to remember those things as you move forward. You must remember those things as you move forward. So remember, you have to realize that you have enough. You have affirmed in yourself that you are enough as the individual and the person, right? As the individual and the person, you have affirmed in yourself that you are enough. But now you have to believe that you have enough. You have to believe that you have the strength and the mental capacity to exhaust every possible outcome that there is, good or bad. Now, what I mean by good or bad is not saying that you're going to go into a bad route. What I mean by good or bad is that you're able to accept the outcome that it is. Okay? You have to be able to accept the outcome of good or bad. I'm not telling you to make a bad choice. No. We have to still use some type of wisdom, people, when we start thinking about how all of this works. You never want to make bad choices. You may make the wrong decisions. Okay? I want you to think about that too. You might end up making a wrong decision, but we realize we made a wrong decision only based off of us acting on what it is that we wish to do. That's how we realize that we've made a bad decision. When the outcome doesn't go as planned, as we would like it to go, right? Once again, if you go up and you start going down, if you go left and you start going right, that means things have shifted, correct? That means things have shifted. So if something shifts, we want to be adaptable, right? We want to be adaptable. So that's part of you knowing that you have enough, okay? You're willing to put in the work and take the time to know, I'm trying to tell you, to know that you have exhausted these outcomes. You are willing to take an L and make the L a win, right? You're willing to take the loss. That's what I mean by the L, people. You're willing to take the loss and flip that into a win. But it's all about your mindset. You have to remember, you affirmed within yourself that you are enough as the individual. You have affirmed within yourself that you are enough as the individual, and now it is time to know that you have enough. But I challenge you to move on to the last part of this and really, truly ask yourself, and here's the accountability piece, people, are you truly doing enough? Are you doing enough? Now, this is the part that most of us are going to have issues with, because once we realize that we either are or aren't doing enough, mostly for us when we realize that we're not doing enough, it's that ability to change, okay? It's that ability to go that extra mile or extra route. So that means if we know that we're not doing enough, okay? If we know that we're not doing enough, get there. Simply plain and put, simple, people. Simply plain. I can't even get my words right. I'm out here messing it up. It's simply and plainly put. Simply and plainly put. All you got to do is go out there and get it. All you got to do is go out there and do it. And I know we have those limiting beliefs that can stop us, okay? Sometimes we won't move forward because we can feel that we're not enough as a human being. And we cannot know that we actually do have enough as a human being. So really the hard reality of asking that question is you being able to actually tackle your feelings, your emotions that are tied, and emotions that are tied to anything that you are doing. So are you doing enough? Are you willing to program your mind to always get to a state of learning, right? To keep your mind in a perpetual state of learning, to where you challenge yourself to always want to do more. Man, think about that. That's powerful, isn't it? Isn't that powerful, people? You have to challenge yourself to put yourself in a state to where you consistently want to learn. Man, consistently want to learn. All that means is that you're not turning off your brain when you are in the middle of the process. Because a lot of times what can happen is we can accept things, right? We accept it for what it is. We can accept anything for what it is. But if we keep an open mind and we realize that that's not always the end of the road, there are different options, opportunities, different ways that we can go. You have to remember that. Gotta remember that. Please remember that, people. You are never limited. This is why we had to see. You see why we started off with affirming yourself? Because you have to build yourself up. You literally have to build yourself up to that point to ask yourself the question, am I doing enough? You affirm yourself to know and believe that you are enough as a person. You have to believe and know that you are enough as a person to do anything you want to do in this world. To do anything you want in this world. Know that you are enough. And know, secondly, that you have enough. There are always resources to take advantage of. There's always a different way of thinking that you can move into. Always keep your mind open to learning. Because none of us have arrived. None of us. None of us have arrived. I don't care how much you've done in this life. Let's put it this way. A serial entrepreneur. You're one of your richest people. You're millionaires. Do you think they tell themselves that they've arrived? When they're completing their growth and development is an ongoing thing. I'm trying to tell you, I was talking to my cousin, man. He told me a whole bunch of stories about a guy named, what's his name? Trevor? I think his name is Trevor. We'll go with the name Trevor right now. He's got a friend named Trevor. I got a guy named Trevor, too. That's one of my boys. Shout out to him if he ever listens. You know what I mean? Please, bruh, listen. Take something out of this podcast, bro. I love you, man. But, yeah, he's got a guy by the name of Trevor. And with his boy, he started off working at a hospital, you all. Moved into the IT department. Very smart guy. Went to YouTube University. But he just regurgitated the information. See, he realized at some point in his mind for him to teach himself a different skill that he was enough. Whenever you have to teach yourself something that you didn't go to school for, but you learn it on YouTube and the concepts and the principles make sense to you and you run with it, you realize that you have enough. You realize that you are enough because you're willing to go the extra mile to learn a skill. And then he realized he had enough. Well, as the story goes, maybe he didn't realize he had enough. He kind of devalued himself a little bit. As the story goes, my cousin told me, as the story goes, he was very good at like shooting videos and editing and everything. And he got a call from literally a millionaire, yo. Millionaire, multi-millionaire. And he had to sell himself. Millionaire asked him, well, how much do you sell your videos for? Because he needed a guy to like shoot and edit some videos for him for some content. And he literally told the millionaire he would charge $50. This guy couldn't believe it. The millionaire could not believe it at all. It's a true story. Millionaire could not believe it at all. So he hung up the phone. He was like, oh, okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. Hung up the phone. His boy called him back and said, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? I told you to sell yourself when this person called. You didn't realize you were talking to a millionaire right now. You were talking to a guy that has a trajectory to change your life. Insane. So then when he called, he said, well, how much would you charge for a video? He said $200. And he was like, what, is 200 is 200 too much? Because he and the guy asked him when he called back. He said, the millionaire, we're talking about the multimillionaire, asked Trevor this question. He said, why is it that you're pricing yourself too low? Now, we went from $50 to $200, and $200 was still low for this millionaire. Remember this, people. $200 was still low for this millionaire per video to edit. He said, why do you value yourself that low? He said, because I have done work for people who just did not have the money. And even when I said a video would cost $50 or $35, just $50 or $35, people were still trying to talk me down. So he wasn't used to being out of that element, okay? So him realizing that he had enough within himself, he didn't see it at the time. He did not see it at the time, so he was devaluing himself. So when he asked himself the question, think about it, put yourself in his shoes. Was he doing enough? Oh, he was doing enough. He was doing enough. He was in his gift. He already knew how to edit the videos. He already knew how to walk in the path of that. You know what I mean? He knew how to take advantage of actually editing, of the actual editing that it took for him to complete a video. You know, that's a skill, people. I edit videos myself, and that's a skill. That's a whole skill. You know what I mean? It takes time and patience to do that. And if you can make something look immaculate, oh, you way ahead of the game, yo. You are extremely ahead of the game. And this man was extremely ahead of the game. So he realized that he was enough. He's now starting to see that he had enough. And now, was he doing enough? Apparently, to devalue yourself like that, he wasn't doing enough. He had all the resources to do everything, but he wasn't doing enough for himself in terms of his value. Now do you see how this plays a role, people? This can take so many twists and turns in asking yourself, are you doing enough? Because doing enough is different to everybody on different levels. And you have to see that. You have to recognize how and what it means to you. Okay? Because everything we're talking about with these 3 points, you affirming yourself and knowing that you are enough as an individual. Okay? And then moving into that, secondly, knowing that you have enough. Okay? Enough resources around you to get what it is or any task that you want done. And then finally asking yourself, are you doing enough? It's different for everybody on everybody's wavelength. Everybody's pattern, vibration, or aura, or sense of peace and happiness. These 3 points mean something different to each and every person that is going to be listening to the podcast, right? It's going to mean something different. So as you're on your journey, always remember this. Always be willing to expand your sense of learning and sense of self. Never limit yourself or put yourself in a box to what other people want you to do. And sometimes, like Trevor, he can walk away. You have the ability to walk away with a brand new boss who pays you $500 a video because he wants to use $500 as a starting point because he saw the value. The multimillionaire saw value in Trevor. Ain't that something, people? You just never know where life will take you. You just never know what type of doors and opportunities will open up for you if you just go ahead and you start doing more. So remember, affirm yourself and know that you are enough, okay? And then once you know that you are enough, know that you have enough. That means you have a vast amount to unlimited resources, and you have the chance to exhaust every point for every situation that you are in. Okay? And then ask yourself, are you doing enough? Keep challenging yourself. Never stop learning. Always keep your mind open to doing and learning new things. So, all right, y'all. This is your boy, Life Coach Jeff. I hope I left something with you. I hope something resonated with you here on today as you are listening to the podcast. There's only so much I can do, but there's so much more that you can do to help you. Remember, there's only so much I can do. As a life coach, I have the ability to guide you. But remember, true coaching is making sure that the client gets what they want out of the deal. And if they miss something, let them realize that themselves. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to lead your clients astray, but you want to make sure that your clients are satisfied. Okay? With coaching, a client is always satisfied with the results that they're able to produce because they realize that they put in the work. So to all my coaches out there, create a sense of self-worth with your clients. Please do. Please do. Because the thing is, it's nothing more better than to look at your client's face and to know that they are happy because they know that they completed new goals and new tasks based off of just the direction that you put them in. You didn't have to tell them, hey, do this, do that. You just guided them in the right direction, gave them a couple ideas, and then they ran with it. So, all right, y'all, I'm going to leave off that bad. So, y'all know how to reach me. I got my Facebook page. We have the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus Facebook page. I have my personal page as well. Life Coach Jeff Relevant is on Instagram also. Do a lot of my lives on my Facebook, man. So y'all go ahead, follow me there. Jeff Relevant. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Remember, redirect, regroup, refocus. And I love y'all oh so very much. Peace out. Thank you for listening and tuning in to the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. We do thank you and appreciate and value you as a listener. Now, I would like to just throw in, please follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram as Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, and also Life Coach Jeff Relaford. You can also find me on Facebook as Jeff Relaford. That's my personal page. Go ahead, give me a follow there. I always put up some good inspirational content. And also the business page, Redirect, Regroup, Refocus on Facebook as well. So, all right, you all, thank you for tuning in. And next week, we will be here again. Remember, redirect, regroup, refocus. I love y'all. Peace out.